Hello, Trading Up Part 3. The first rule of trading up that I set myself is do not swap that Mercedes for a project. Also, don't swap it for something that I'll want to keep. If you didn't see the previous episode and wondering what's going on, I've swapped a 2008 Mercedes 220 CDI for a 1989 Rover 827 SI. The Rover's 19 years older, but 19 times more desirable as well. The end goal for this idea is either to acquire something that is incredibly valuable that I could sell and make loads of money off, or buy loads of other cars for projects, or end up with a car that I've always wanted. And it stands out so well of a period long gone that I just ache to keep it. But that's not going to stop me from trying to move it on. However, amongst a bunch of cosmetic issues, it does have one thing that really does need sorting out, even before I drive it much more myself. When it's running, it runs really, really nice, but it really shouldn't take that long to start. And there's a light on the dashboard that shouldn't be there either. That's telling me there's some sort of engine fault. I've been doing lots and lots of Googling and asking questions, and I believe the fault to have been the igniter, a little module separate to the coil that can go wrong. However, as these are incredibly difficult to get hold of, I thought I'd search for one on the Rover 800 groups, and I've been told by a few people it's probably not that. It's more likely to have something to do with charging the battery. Seems a bit unlikely. Battery's charging perfectly well. So why then would the ignition light still be on if that's an indication of incorrect charging? What I'm going to do is put the boost pack on it and see whether it's got anything to do with just its initial starting phase. And if it's not that, then I'm going to test relays and stuff like that. Boost pack on, let's see if that makes any difference. Makes it go quicker. I don't think that's what the problem is. Underneath the driver's seat is an ECU with a flashing light. And the frequency of this flashing light with the ignition on will tell me what the fault is. So here we go. 8 flashing lights. Let's find out what it means. I'm going to try an application of dizzy cap removal and see if I can locate that sensor that's supposed to be in there, because all the information is pointing towards that. The crank sensor has been replaced. The cam belt was done recently, so all that's been put back together by people who know what they're doing. I think it can only be that, a bad earth. There's no sensor inside the dizzy cap at all. That was a bit fruitless. Parked in the shade because it's too hot to be faffing around under the bonnet in the direct sunlight. I had to take the airbox out, which was a bit of a faff, so I could get to this properly, and I just thought I'd double check that all of the leads are in the right order. You know, firing order. And guess what? They were. So that's not the problem. Looking again at Honda Code 8, it tells me this time that it's the top dead center code, sensor thingy, which is located inside the distributor somewhere. So all that would probably have to come off. But in the meantime, you can reset it by simply disconnecting the battery. That's not made any difference. I don't see how I can even part with this vehicle. It's just somehow the Rover that I want. The only fear really, I mean, I'm not really too bothered about the inconvenience of having to turn it over for like 6 seconds at a time. It's just that strain on the starter motor that bothers me. I love the idea of having a two-limb car. Being an auto, you only need one leg, and the power steering is that powerful that you just need one hand. Literally, you could just palm it everywhere you go. I like the smell of the exhaust fumes. No wonder there's something a bit bent in my noggin. But I bet I'm not the only one, because you don't smell it very often. The smell of burnt petrol. Now, Tony, would you like me to gently prise off your front bumper and try and mend it so you look a bit better? And whilst at it, try and realign the headlamps and the other bits that don't look quite right? Yeah, I thought so. Good crack there. Another good crack there. That's sticking out a bit too far and is wobbly. To take the front bumper off is going to involve removing quite a few screws. And from my experience, screws that hold bumpers on can round off when they're only 10 years old. What a chance has this one got? At 37. They just came straight out. That's the front wonky bit sorted out, aligned properly and no longer looking like it's sucking on a lemon. Popped into the garage to go and get some hot water. And every time I go there, they're trying to give me something. This time I got given a bloody t-shirt. Looks like the kind of thing I'd go down Canal Street wearing. Although it is Mac Tools. It's clearly just a little bit too tight on me. But you know, it's a gift. I don't want to appear ungrateful. My original plan was to take that front bumper off. But it turns out you've got to take the headlamps out to get to the top bolts. And we'll do that now because the garage has gone away. I'm going to have to use the generator to power up the plastic welding machines. I think that's just a bit much, really. Sorting out scratches, cracks on bumpers, headlamp alignment, all of these kind of things. Relatively easy. I can do those. But the main problem at the moment is it needs a top dead center sensor, because as you start the car, you have to turn it over and over for about 5 seconds and then woof, it goes and it runs perfectly. But guess what? Nobody's got one of those. Sure, somebody has somewhere, but I'm gonna have to search much more thoroughly. It's no good, I can't wear this t-shirt any longer, I just look fucking stupid in it. Now, dilemma time. The dilemma that I knew I would be facing. I knew I would like this car just a little bit too much and struggle with the idea of parting with it. And the more I drive it, the more real that dilemma has become. The idea of trading up was to eventually get something that I really wanted. And it's already happened. I wasn't expecting to end up with a car like this. It wasn't really one that I was thinking about particularly. And now I think about what would I have, what would I prefer instead? Maybe an MG Maestro Turbo. They are silly money. If I swapped it for something much more modern that currently is worth a lot more than this, yeah, great for the time. You know, unless I moved it on straight away and carried on trading until I got something really good, I'm going to be regretful of it. So maybe it's time to just change my tact. Oh, there's 10p on the floor down there. That'll come in handy. After just a week, the amount of looks and the amount of praise this car has been getting, it just makes me realise this is possibly a once in a lifetime opportunity now to have one of these. Because the Mark 1 Rover 800, never mind the V6, but the Mark 1 Rover 800 is such a rare car that it's probably never, ever going to come up as another opportunity. And so I'm thinking, I'm just going to have to find another way to get by and do the swap with something else. There's another Rover over there. Over the years, I've parted with a lot of cars that actually I really wanted to keep. But I've always been able to justify it. I've been able to explain to myself why I did it in the first place. And I can't honestly do that with this one. Found 5p now. I haven't made this clear, but straight away I had somebody asking me how much I want for it, and then an offer for a 75 V6 and an MGF 160. Most recently a Rover 400 and another Rover 400 and some money on top as well. Actually, I need the money, but this time I'm not going to buckle. I can't. I need a different way around it. Something else I keep thinking is that everywhere you go, you see much older cars like this, like Morris Minors, like Volkswagen Beetles, like MGBs, like Fords. But somehow they don't really catch your eye as much because you see them all over the place. These cars are much older, but because they were considered classics earlier on, people hung on to them. That, and possibly they didn't have these little technical issues with little sensors and things like that. The end of the 80s was the time for putting sensors into engines to make them run more efficiently until they stopped working. I've made my mind up. I've already told you I've made my mind up, but I'm telling you I've made my mind up again just in case there was any doubt about me making my mind up. And I understand that quite possibly a few people may find this as rather disappointing news, because I started off with an idea, it's gone very, very well, and I've decided to abandon it. But I haven't decided to abandon it. I've just decided to change track. I'm hopping off the motorway and going onto a back road somewhere. And with that, I'm going to start episode 4 with a very different car from this one. I just haven't decided which one it is yet, because I have a couple of choices here. And one or two of them are going to make sense, and one of them isn't going to make sense, and one of them isn't an option. In fact, two of them are options. I'm going to end this video right here and simply sign off by saying thank you for watching and being a subscriber and a channel member, and for commenting and liking and all of the useful things that you could do towards the progress of this channel. I think that's it. Some may feel disappointed, but many won't. Lots of references I could dig out if I could only drive and use my mobile phone at the same time to look at the comments suggesting that this is the car, this is my car, this is the car I should be in. This is the Rover Bossman car. You don't get rid of the Rover Bossman car. And that's why I'm as happy as can be. If only my fuel tank wasn't so empty. It picks up nicely. The police were doing this sort of spot check down here yesterday, pulling people into the car park seemingly at random to check over their vehicles and have a bit of a nosy. And they pulled me in, which bit annoying, a bit of time used up. Anyway, one of the officers said to one of the others, "Hey, this car's older than you, this is." And I said, "Yeah, it's 37 years old." "Oh, it's older than me as well."